Hello and welcome back. I am Rob and you're watching Outside in the 515. Today we're going to try another new process. So, what is this new process? Well, in the video that dropped today is the Sunday, November 15th, I think. I had the splitter set up by my cord racks, and I'd split a full table, I'd stack it, or I tried putting it in the cart and then stacking it. I tried the wheelbarrow, then stacking it. None of those really worked outside of filling the table and then stacking it. But I'm only going to do that with the species that I'm separating. Most of the time, like with elm and maple, and I got some sycamore, there's some really dead stuff that I don't know what it is. I've got some walnut. All the other species, I'll just throw it into a pile, let it dry. It'll be good come, next season. With like ash, I want to know how much ash I have, so I stack it right away. Mainly because it dries so fast. Like this stuff over here, I split it about 2 months ago. It's already reading about 17 to 19%, so it's good to go, which is great. I've got another full cord over here of ash, a little more than a full cord of ash over here. I got another cord of ash up there, and I'm still waiting for my delivery from the stuff I split up at my dad's lake house, and I'm thinking there's about 2.5, 3 cords there, and I need to go over to dad's. He brought a few pieces home. I need to go get those so I can test them and see where they're at. But they've been in a pile down there on like a rocky driveway type thing, but it gets sun all day. It's windy down there all day, and I split that about a month ago. So I'm assuming it's going to be good to go. But the process, and I'll spin you around and show you what we've got. I started on it yesterday. I've got all these I had a lot more big sycamore rounds there. And then I've got a bunch smaller stuff over there. I am going to say I don't like sycamore. It looks to me, this is the first time I've ever split sycamore, and it looks like the grains look twisted, so it splits really hard. This stuff is really wet, like it's still like seeping moisture out of it. Now the smaller stuff might be different, we'll see, but I've definitely given the 28 Pro X a workout. But I'll spin you around and we'll show you what we got. So, as you can see, I've got the tractor in front of the splitter. And what I've been doing is I've just been raising the bucket up, setting it right on top of the sorting table. When I split it, I toss it into the bucket, take it over and dump it on the pile. And for me, that seems to work the best if I'm not separating the species out. Plus, where that is, once the sun gets around these trees back here, it gets sun all day, because it's, that way is east. It gets sun 3/4 of the day, and it's fairly, Des Moines is a pretty windy place most of the time. So I know that pile will be dry June time. I do have 2 cords. Well, I got 1 full cord and 1 less of a cord. 1 not quite a cord, I should say, of like elm and maple that was split, and that Sheila had stacked before she decided to do other things. So I'll test those here in a couple weeks and see how dry they are. But time to get to work. I need to get the tractor fired up, get the Pro X fired up. We'll get you set up and we'll get to rock and rolling. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for this one. I'm as you can see, some of the bigger stuff that I had noodled, it was from the trunk, and it was twisted. So I don't exactly know how a sycamore grows, but it looked like it grows like this straight up. Now the limb wood that I split there towards the end, it wasn't bad. I could use the 4-way on it. The other stuff, the big stuff, it was just too much for the 4-way. So I was just busting it down with the single knife. But I think going forward, I think this is how I'm gonna do it. Like I've said in earlier videos, I do have a bigger bucket for the tractor. I'm just waiting for winter time when I can't get outside to take that over to the shop and start fabricating the new mounts for the little bit bigger of a bucket. And then I'll be able to split longer into the bucket and then take it to the pile. As you can see, that little tractor really likes to climb, and I wasn't expecting it to take off that much. That's kind of the downside to not having a hydrostat. Because once it's in first gear on the low side, it wants to keep on climbing. So, but that's gonna do it for me for this one. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, click all the bells and whistles, all the ringing dingies at the bottom. We'll catch you on the next one.